You know who this is?
Actually, yes. And actually, I'm not Hallie. Actually, I am.
If you grew up in the 90s, you know that the 1998 remake of The Parent Trap is an absolute classic with a total banger of a soundtrack. And 26 years later, I think we can all agree that the premise of this movie is a bit unhinged. I mean, how was it determined that the best way forward in the divorce was to split up twins and not tell them about each other? But that's not what this video is about, and truth be told, reality is stranger than fiction, so I'm sure something like this has happened in the real world before, so let's just move on. Here's the deal, I know this is going to come across as a wild take for some, but if you bear with me, you might find that this video is not only fascinating, but heart-opening. The reason I believe this movie is so beloved and often described as a comfort movie is that with its great acting and clever dialogue, it skillfully delivers a unique take on a long-standing story trope that connects with us on a deep level. Welcome to Movie Meditations. Buckle up and let's dive into the unexpected spiritual significance from Disney's 1998 remake of The Parent Trap. And in case you haven't seen this movie in a hot second, here's what's going on. The story centers around identical twin sisters, Annie James and Hallie Parker, both played by Lindsay Lohan, who were separated at birth when their parents, Nick Parker and Elizabeth James, divorced and decided to never see each other again. Annie grows up with her mother in London, while Hallie lives with her father in Napa Valley. By chance, the twins meet at a summer camp, and despite an initial rivalry, discover their true identities and then devise a plan to switch places and reunite with their estranged parents. With some clever schemes, the twins navigate the challenges of impersonating each other while trying to bring their parents back together. And this brings us to the question you're probably wondering. How could this lighthearted family comedy with an absurd premise have anything insightful to say about the realm of spirituality? Well, first I have to admit something for this video to make sense. I have to admit to you that when I rewatched this movie over the pandemic, I was caught off guard by how emotionally moving a couple of the scenes were. So much so that a bit of salty liquid may have escaped my eyeballs, but there's no definitive proof of this. And although I will further admit that I'm not a complete stranger to shedding a man tear during a heartfelt movie, it was quite surprising that this silly late 90s comedy affected me in this way. So the scene that really got me was when Hallie has to reveal her true identity to her mother, and this comes after she's been just in complete awe and joy after spending a few days with her.
My mom is too cool.
Initially, I had no idea why this would be such a powerful scene for me, because I've known both my biological parents my entire life. They told me they loved me, they gave me hugs and kisses, it was great. And yeah, I guess I could just chalk it up to feeling empathetic towards a beautiful moment, but it felt like there was something more happening here. Then during meditation, shortly thereafter my rewatch of the movie, something tugged at me to see things from a bit of a different perspective. I got a hint that this reunion struck a chord because it was symbolic of a deeper truth, a representation of a reunion that we humans are looking for on a more subtle, a more spiritual level. And I just wanted to take 1 second to be clear that what I'm about to share regarding this deeper meaning is not something that the writers necessarily consciously put in this movie. I'm looking at this as a sort of phenomenon described by the likes of Joseph Campbell or Carl Jung, among others, where certain archetypal stories keep popping up in cultures because they resonate with us on some fundamental level. And one theme that is found in so many religious cultures around the world is the seeing of the divine as a parental figure. God the Father, the Divine Mother, we see the symbolism for the divine as a parent everywhere. And there are many reasons why this could be the case, but just to touch on 2 of those reasons. 1, the divine exists on a higher dimension and therefore sees things from a higher perspective, in the same way that a parent sees things from a higher perspective than a child, and because of this may guide the child in ways that he or she may not understand at first, but are ultimately good for their own growth and evolution in the long run. But also because at the core of spirituality are the questions, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my true origin? And on the physical plane, on the level of our biology, our parents are the answers to those questions. They came together and through a procreative union, children came into being. But the questions of who am I and where do I come from can extend much deeper than just how our physical bodies came into existence. For time immemorial, we have wondered the source of our consciousness, of the life force that is scintillating within us. Where did that come from? How did I end up on this planet? Where will my soul go after the body goes back into the earth? In the same way that many people who have not known their biological parents long deeply to get to know them,
Seems like it's been forever. You have no idea.
there are those who long deeply to know their spiritual parents. or more broadly, their spiritual origin. So even though on one level, the idea of having known only one parent from birth doesn't seem universally relatable, on another level, I believe this represents the human being who knows only half of their origin. The physical, but not the spiritual. And this is one of the reasons why this trope of a protagonist going on an adventure to find out the truth about either one or both of their parents is so common in both ancient mythology as well as modern cinema. And so this reunion that gets played out in this scene between a daughter and her mother is not just a beautiful moment at face value, but also an archetypal representation of the human reuniting with the divine, with our spiritual origin, which I believe is one of the reasons it can emotionally tug at us or make it feel like a comfort movie. There is a part of us that longs to know who we are, where we come from, where do I really belong?
I've never seen you and I dreamt of meeting you my whole life.
And searching for that in the outer world, in the world of status achievements, material success, and pleasure of the five senses, can only bring incomplete answers. We long to know our own being, our own consciousness, which is of divine origin. The fact that this reunion is such a joyful event is a great representation of the joy that comes in reuniting with the divine. As saints for millennia have described, just touching upon our true divine nature for a moment brings unparalleled joy and bliss, a pure unquestioned acceptance of our very being, and an understanding that we perfectly and eternally belong. And if you're sitting there wondering, well, how do I feel that reunion with my true nature, with my divine origin? Well, I'm going to leave you with a quote from my meditation teacher, Gurudev, who has spoken extensively on this topic. There's a natural tendency in every human being, in every soul, to crave that state of absolute comfort. Everything wants to go back to its source, just as leaves let go and return to the soil in the fall. The natural tendency to recycle all that we have collected in day-to-day life as impressions, get rid of them, and get back to the original state we were in when we came to this planet is what meditation is. Becoming fresh and alive again is what meditation is. Getting back to that serenity that is your original nature is meditation. Well, that's it for this video, and I hope it was enough for you to meditate on until next time. Thanks for watching.